Hi guys, welcome to this plumberparts.co.uk video. What we're going to look at today is the installation of a waste pipe for a toilet, and also we're going to have a look at how to fit the cistern and the feed pipes to the back of that toilet. This is a concealed toilet cistern, and I know we've done a video on that before, but we're just going to have another look at it. If you want to buy one of these lovely t-shirts, we've got a few for sale. There's going to be a link for that at the end of the video. Please remember to subscribe, and please remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Snapchat. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video guys, and remember, to hold tight. Popping along and having a look at this video. Like I say, please do subscribe because we do lots of instructional videos and loads of like plumbing disasters, competitions and fun, so by all means do subscribe. It'll definitely be worth your while. So what I'm going to show you today, I've obviously done a few videos before on this particular subject, and just because I've got a nice clean install here, I've got a good way of being able to sort of film the back of this toilet as well. I thought it'd be nice just to give you an idea about how we figure out what we're doing with the waste. And also just the ins and outs of sometimes the changes you need to make to the carcassing to be able to actually put in a flush unit. So I thought that'd be handy for you guys to know. So what we're going to do, I've already first fixed my hot and cold and everything in here already, and I've got my cold sticking out already for the fill. Now it's a little bit of an annoying one, this bit, because this particular unit was bought by the customer and it's got a bottom entry. Usually for concealed stuff, I much prefer to have a side entry, purely because that means that if you've got a problem in the future, you can get to that water connection really easy. If there's a leak, you can turn it off really easy, that sort of thing. So it's a little bit of a for me, I'm afraid, but sometimes you just don't have control over what people buy. Funnily enough, the two that I've already installed upstairs have actually got side entries, so maybe they just ran out of side entry ones. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring our 4-inch out here, we're going to elbow up, and with a flexible multi-quit from a Calpine, we're going to go into the back of the toilet. We're then going to drill a hole into the top of our 4-inch there and put a normal boss in to take our 1¼ inch waste that will run somewhere along here or somewhere or other up out of the way, as long as it's got a drop on it, into the cabinet where the basin is. We've got our cold feed just here, and what we're going to do is bring that out and around to whichever side our cold feed comes up on. Then we're going to fix our flush unit on here and also bring our flush pipe into the back of the toilet so it all fits together nicely and so it's back to the wall as well. First things first, just want you to see that we've already got the back done. We've done videos on this in the past, so if you do want to know how to do this side of the job, then search on our YouTube channel for how to fit a concealed toilet. So as you can see there, this will slip down the back just like so. We've got adequate clearance. The Sparky's on site at the moment, he's doing a bit of drilling. So we've got adequate clearance on here, so you can get your 4-inch in and obviously your flush pipe in as well, but this will slip down. Then if you've got any problems, you can cut around the silicone, lift this up out of the way and do any work that you need to do. So it's future proof. Anyway, this is what we've got on the back of our loo. What I need to do is cut a small piece that will go into the T just behind us here. Behind this boxwork here, we've got about 1 meter's worth of 4-inch and then a Durgo at the top. And the actual chippies are gonna have to come back and vent the top of that Durgo because there's no venting in there. And they've just come in and put all this boxing in. So they're gonna have to do that. So next thing I need to do, so I cut my little bit of 4-inch. It's gonna have a socket on here. It's gonna be about 8 inches long. And then what I'm gonna do is cut the boss into the top of it. So here's my little bit here. What we need to do first anyway, before we get that on, is it helps, it's just a little trick, a little bit of fairy liquid, get that around the actual fitting itself and just sort of splodge that on a little bit, and that will help push that on in a second. So hopefully these are, you can get kind of different size 4-inch, so we're just going to run that around there. Can't hurt to just get it on the actual rubber on here as well. We love getting lubed up in the plumbing industry, believe me. Oh yeah, look at it. Right, what I'll do, I'm going to pull out our multi-quick. Unfortunately, I've chosen the tightest toilet in the world to make this video, but there we go. That's my own fault. Right, so there we go, that's on now. Let's pull that out of the way. Now, I've already got this cut to the length that I want it to be. So the next thing I want to do is we get ourselves this strap-on boss like this. There are loads of other ways of doing it, but I've done it with the 2 toilets upstairs and it's working totally fine. You need to get a hole saw that corresponds with the outer size of this hole here, because this return wants to go inside the pipe a little bit. All your seal will be made up on here. Now, when it comes to sealing these up, you can use solvent weld glue or you can use a very, very strong silicone. To be honest, sometimes I think strong silicone's a bit better at the moment. See, I just get a feeling, I just don't trust solvent weld as much anymore, and you see so many of them leaking. I trust them on pipe fittings, but on these, I don't know, I prefer a little bit of CT1. No, we'll go from there anyway. So let me just drill my hole. Things to consider when you're doing this, Make sure that you're on a flat piece, okay? You're on a flat bit of pipe like so. We're also going to put a little bit of a cock on this so it goes upwards a slight bit. Lovely, there's our hole. Right, you've got your hole drilled, so I'll just get yourself a little rounded edge file. Just take off all this swarf, just so it doesn't get in your way in a sec. Just gonna grab my gun. I'm just gonna splodge myself some CT1 or equivalent. I wouldn't just use normal silicone for this. This you wanna use high-end, really, really good gripper. We don't want any leaks. And just in case, I'm gonna put some around here as well. This stuff's cheap, as my old man says. Leaks are expensive. And we've splodged a really good bead on here. All we need to do is press the two together in matrimony, making sure that our little inner hole here goes inside this hole. And you'll know when it does. Sit from there. And then just grab yourself a set of grips. Depending on what type of clamp system you've got, you should just be able to just clamp these down. Just like so. Believe me, that is not going to leak. Right, a bit of fairy liquid on here, just like so. Ooh, lift these up, don't want them on the tiles. Give it a little rinse round, just a run round like I did a minute ago. And then get it on your rubber as well. Just get as much of it as on every surface that's going to be in contact. Just get all of that on there like that. And now we can push this in. Perfect. That's great, really, really pleased with that. Get this, so we've got an elbow. I mean, the elbow can almost go directly in this. This is sometimes a problem. You have all this sort of stuff about that kind of gets in the way. It's almost there just to keep this together while it's in transit. Once it's installed, you know, this stuff isn't going to go anywhere. Also, what I've done, I've just cut this cold out of the way, so we've got a little bit of just water sat in the pipe, so that's just still running out. We're going to need all of that out before we do any soldering work in that in a minute. So what I'm going to do now very quickly is I'm just going to run my pipe along here. Look at how cool this releaser is as well. Look. Just boom, it comes off like that. Man, I love that tool. This tool is so good. You just pop it back on and then tighten like so, and boom, you're back on. In a minute, I'm just going to do the alterations to the copper feed at the bottom and get that up. But really, before I do that, it's best that I actually hang our actual cistern in, okay? Now, as you can see, our flush is on this side, so we're going to be hanging it back to the wall like so. Most cisterns like this come with a special bracket that define the height down from the bracket already. That's saying our bracket wants to go that far to the wall, so it will hit the top like that. So all we need to do to find out exactly where we need it, we know that the toilet is central to this unit here. We know that our 4 inch is central to that unit there as well. So all we need to do is measure out from the back there, find our center, and then fit our clip accordingly. One thing I'll say about a lot of these clips, you'll see that the center for this is here. So don't be fooled by the fact that this is that wide and then divide the width by 2 and then go there, because you'll be wrong. Make sure you get your center on there. But as I say so many times, all clips, all toilets are different. So read the instructions. Don't do what most men do, all right? And try and fit it and then go, hold on, I better read the instructions here. Girls, I don't need to say that to you because you read the instructions anyway and get it right first time. Hate to say it, but my wife is probably watching. So then, once you're at this stage here, make sure you test all these connections to make sure they haven't come loose in transit. And then you should just be able to pop this up on here like so and get that installed. Cold feed is down here, so we're gonna have a flexi go straight into that. Now, this is a bone of contention, guys, because obviously those of you who follow us on social media will be like, oh, he's always taking the mickey out of flexis. But they do have a time and place. I mean, if you see him going up into a radiator, then that's not the time or the place, definitely not. Send me the photo if you do find one. But they're great to be used for this particular install where you're finishing off the second fix on a toilet, and it's the same for basins and kitchen sinks. It's more connections up to taps where it's difficult to get to them. That's the whole idea. So we're going to pop that in now. Then once we've done that, we're going to get our flush pipe in like so and get that all measured up and cut properly. But I think you can already see that we're at a really good stage in this job now. It's nice and neat, everything's how we want it, and everything should be fine. Oh, here she comes. Yeah, watch out, boy. She'll chew you up. Ow! Right, so we now got the water back on. I'm just filling everything up top. I've just cracked this to make sure this is all okay. We filled this all up and we're just testing all our fittings out beforehand. So now, all we need to do is pop our cover on here. It's a great idea now that we give this a bit of a clear out under here as well, and then we can get our loo in. And it's a very simple process for us to get our flush pipe, get that cut to the right height and depth, so it's sticking out the right way and all that. And then basically you can push the toilet back, pop the cap down, and then silicone up the toilet. So I'm just going to turn the water on for this cistern through here, funnily enough, which is good because it shows that where I put my valve, any servicing engineer is going to be able to get to it. The reason we're turning on the water now is that if we've got any leaks underneath here, we need to know when all this lot is under pressure. And the only way that's going to be under pressure is if this cistern's full and the actual valve is shut off, so then we know that we're under pressure then, and that's all okay. So the next thing we've got to do, let's just spin this beast round. Often the best way to do the next bit is by eye. I know it might sound a bit willy-nilly, but you're going to be able to put in your flush pipe exactly there like that, and then go, right, yeah, that is where I want to cut it. So you're going to basically cut it just above the bottom of this here. Now, all different cisterns have different amounts that will allow the flush pipe in, so make sure you know about that first. I've fitted enough of these now ready to know, so I know exactly where I'm going to cut that. So I've got my cut mark there. Use a hacksaw or whatever you have available. I have got a little trick that I can do it with this. How clean is that cut? Huh? Right, we whip the nut off, and then you literally have a standard compression fitting on here. So nut, then you've got your slip ring. What this does, it stops the nut clagging up on the back of this rubber, and this rubber's got a little taper on it, so make sure that the taper faces into the fitting, okay, and that the flat bit is where our rubber meets up, like so, if you can see that. All right, the water's off now, we've got no leaks, so that's good. The last thing you want to do now is press the flush button. That's why I've not even put it on yet. Right, the next bit you need to do is obviously know how far to cut back this depth here. You've got a special rubber O-ring, ribbed one, that will go inside here, but for now what you want to do is you actually just always want to leave it on the pipe and always leave it lubricated. A good thing is these can just sort of clag up a lot, so get that lubricant out. Like I said earlier on, that's the most important part of this job, is making sure that everything's nice and lubricated and goes on and off really easily. A couple of ways to do this. You can marry this up next to it, and then you know exactly how far back. You can feel a little ridge, a little lip inside where that goes back. You can feel that lip, you can measure it if you like. It's completely up to you how you figure this bit out. And then that's cut off exactly to the right height that we want. And that's now on, ready to go. So our ribbed 4-inch just pushes in here like that. And then we've got this flexibility now to be able to work on this. Next thing I'd always recommend you do, just like I've said 100 times in this video, is a little bit of lubricante on that. Just run that around it, like so. And also get it inside the toilet. Hopefully you can see inside the loo, if I just turn that a bit more, there's that little lip that we're talking about. We've measured our pipe to touch that lip pretty much, or just back from it. Now we should, with any luck, just be able to push this back onto the toilet, like so. Nice test to do to make sure that it's all good, make sure that you've got it right, is to get a piece of the wood that's actually going to be holding all this lot out. So there we go, a closer look shows that we're in there. We've got everything in here where we need it to be, and this is completely firmly inserted into the toilet with our rubber on there as well. The good thing is now, if we do have any problems, we've lubricated that. It's going to come in and out really easily. It's not going to pull the cistern off the wall or anything, so we know that we're okay there. We know that we can get to our valve really easily because that's just down here like so. Okay, obviously the flexie's a little bit more flex than I'd like, but I was expecting to be second fixing on a side entry unit here, whereby I'd run my pipe up in copper a bit further up and round, but there we go, such is life. So the next thing we want to know, before we put our back unit on, well, it's a good idea, firstly, to make sure, using any bit of the material that's going to be used as the backing piece, to make sure that the depth of our flush unit is correct, because we don't want to flush the toilet, find out that we've got no leaks and everything's all right, but then when we push the toilet back, it doesn't meet up to the bit of wood for when we come to silicone. You're going to have to pull it all out again, and maybe doing that work you might create another leak. So we're going to get our cut out now. Remember what I said, we've done a video on how to cut these out already. So that's pushed back there. Does this go all the way back? Yes, it does. Perfect. Nothing to worry about there. So let's just pull this off a little bit, pull this out again, and then give this a test flush manually just up here. There we go, and for those of you that don't know, I had a feeling there might have been a family of rats living down that 4-inch pipe, because I could hear them a couple of weeks ago when I was doing some work first fixing this shower behind us. So hopefully that might have evicted the poor buggers. Sorry, rat. So anyway, we flushed the toilet a few times now. Absolutely happy there's no leaks. Totally pleased with how everything's gone. So now I can pop this back down here. Ready for siliconing later on. Okay, back like so. That goes down like that. Everyone's happy. We can even fit our button on. Now the buttons, I mean, you can see, so this has been done by some of the chippy lads who are here. Obviously, I think the guy wanted to change the button over from what it was. Depending on what fill unit you've got, make sure you follow the instructions when it comes to which hoses and the air bit want to go on what. Boom, straight away. And now that's ready for us to properly fit the toilet down, do all the siliconing and stuff like that. There's a lot more work to be done in here over the next few days, and I don't really want to silicone until everything's finished, so I'm not going to show you how to do that now. And we've done a video on how you can silicone toilets anyway. I'll leave a link to that in the description below so you can have a look. And there we go, pretty much all done. So there you go, the bog's installed. I've tested it for leaks and everything. I'm now about to silicone it up and also put the toilet seat on. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Please subscribe to our videos and also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter and Snapchat. We do loads of stuff on there all the time, loads of comps to win and stuff like that. And also in a second, there'll be a link to buy a t-shirt and maybe a bobble hat, just like the ones I'm wearing at the moment. But where's the bobble hat? I don't know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and remember to hold tight.